Listen, this story is something I saw myself. It happened like almost 50 years ago when I was just 12. But man, the effects of it, they're still around. My whole family, we're still dealing with it. Mostly because my dad didn't take things seriously back then. Believe it or not, what I saw, what happened, you just can't forget that stuff. We lived in a small house back then. There was me, my dad Chris, my mom Emily, my grandpa Michael, and my grandma. And then there was my baby sister. She was only 12 days old. Yeah, just 12 days. So, one evening, it was pouring rain outside. No electricity, obviously. The only light in the house was from an old kerosene lantern. Mom was cooking dinner in the kitchen. Dad and Grandpa were out somewhere, doing something. I was sitting near the lantern, trying to read. Grandma was sitting right there too, holding my baby sister. Suddenly, near the door, I saw a shadow in the lantern light. A woman's shadow. You could totally tell someone was standing just outside the door, right in front of the lantern light. And because the light was fixed, the shadow was super sharp. You know how shadows get bigger the closer they get to the light source? This shadow started getting bigger and bigger. So big that eventually, it completely covered my grandma and my baby sister. When that darkness fell over them, my grandma let out this choked gasp and then just muttered something like, "Oh God," or "Help me." Mom came running from the kitchen. She had this burning piece of wood in her hand. Yeah, we used to have a wood stove, and she grabbed a piece that was still burning. She pointed it at the door and yelled, "Get out! You don't belong here!" After that, everything just went quiet. Only the sound of the rain and the crickets. A few minutes later, that shadow slowly moved away. Mom and Grandma were seriously freaked out. I could see it on their faces. They went to check outside, but nobody was there. But they had this weird terror in their eyes. Where I was sitting, there was a window right behind me. Everyone else was looking at the door, but I was looking at that window. And that's when I saw her. Standing outside the window was a woman, super ugly. Her teeth were black, her eyes were bright red. Her mouth was open, and I could see this drool dripping from her black teeth and lips. Her face was so horrifying, even now, if I close my eyes, I can see that face clearly. My eyes just bugged out when I saw her. Grandma must have seen the look on my face and figured I was seeing something. She quickly scooped up my baby sister and ran to a small room at the back of the house, like where our little prayer area was. She huddled in there with the baby, scared stiff, probably terrified someone would snatch the baby away. My mom, after looking at my face, turned around and saw her too. She screamed and immediately ran over and covered my eyes with her hands so I couldn't see. She grabbed a blanket from the nearby cot, wrapped me up in it, and just started whispering prayers. Oh God, please." She was shaking like crazy. After a while, the rain stopped. All I could hear was the sound of frogs. I wanted to pull the blanket off and look, but Mom held me tight, wouldn't let me move, just kept praying. Then suddenly, the sound of the gate opening. Dad and Grandpa were back. Grandpa came inside and saw Grandma sitting there like that and asked, "What happened? Why are you sitting like this?" Hearing Grandpa's voice, Mom took her hands off my eyes. Both of them, Mom and Grandma, looked at Dad and just started sobbing uncontrollably. Dad took my sister from Grandma's lap and gave her to Grandpa, then came back inside and asked them, "What's wrong with you? Why are you so scared?" They were too terrified to say anything. So Dad turned to me and asked, "Daniel, what happened?" I told him everything. When Dad heard it all, his face went pale. He looked at Grandpa and said, "Oh shit, how could she? She died years ago." "What are you guys talking about?" Grandma, crying, said, "She's come for her baby, and she'll take her. We have to do something." Dad yelled, "Stop it. You'll scare the whole village talking like this." Grumbling, Dad stormed out of the house, probably just to clear his head. Mom and Grandma were still terrified. Grandpa heard everything but didn't say a word. He just sat there thinking about what was happening and why. That night, Grandma held my sister close to her chest while she slept. Mom tied the baby to her body with her dupatta, like village women sometimes do with their babies, holding them close even while sleeping. There was this weird fear gripping everyone. What kind of fear? What kind of shadow was after a 12-day-old baby? Grandpa and Dad were sleeping outside on cots in the courtyard. They must have just drifted off when a terrifying scream woke the whole village. It was a woman's voice, screaming and crying in a horrible way. We all jolted awake, and then the sound came again. A little while later, there was a knock on our door. Dad's voice. "Daniel, open the gate." I opened it. Dad came in with a lantern, woke up Mom and Gra, NDMA, and they all went out with the other villagers who had gathered. Everyone was heading towards the sound. After they left, women from the neighboring houses came and gathered at our place. They were whispering, talking very quietly, but I could hear them talking about someone coming back. I couldn't figure anything out. Who was that woman I saw? Who had come back? I didn't dare ask Dad. I asked Grandpa, "Grandpa, what was that sound?" Grandpa didn't answer. He just had this sad, fearful look in his eyes, like he knew everything but wasn't telling me. A little later, everyone came back. Nobody said anything. The women went back to their houses. We all just quietly went back to bed. In the morning, I woke up to Mom crying. She was screaming, wailing. Grandma was sitting beside her, crying too. A lot of neighborhood women were gathered there. I saw Dad standing outside with a stick in his hand, and then my eyes fell on the floor. That dupatta Mom had used to tie my sister to herself last night. It was lying scattered on the floor, and my sister was nowhere to be seen. I ran to Mom and asked, "Mom, where's my sister?" Mom screamed like she was crazy. She took her. The witch took my baby." And then she just started crying hysterically. You can imagine what a mother feels when her 12-day-old baby is snatched away. About 2 or 3 hours later, Dad came back. Mom, Emily, ran to him and grabbed him. "My baby! What happened to my baby? Where is she?" Dad's eyes were wet. He just looked down and cried. Seeing him like that, Mom cried even harder. That day, I lost my sister forever. I was only 12, didn't understand much, but as I grew up and learned everything, I found out where this mystery started. Who was that woman because of whom I lost my little sister? It all began after the marriage of my grandpa Michael's aunt. After getting married, she came back to her parents' house because she was pregnant. It was her first child, and her in-laws wanted her to be well taken care of at her family's place. Her name was Eleanor. She was 4 months pregnant and just relaxing. Her in-laws were really rich, but her husband had a problem. He couldn't have children. After a lot of searching, he married Eleanor. But the real reason for the marriage was different. Eleanor's father had apparently borrowed a lot of money from her father-in-law, and the condition for the marriage was that the debt would be wiped clean. So basically, she was kind of sold off. A few months after the wedding, her husband came to visit and started pressuring her to come back home with him. But Eleanor didn't want to go. She kept hesitating. Finally, under pressure from her husband, she had to go back to her in-laws' house. When my grandpa Michael and his parents were sleeping, late at night, suddenly there was a loud knocking at the gate. It was Eleanor's voice from outside. "Brother, save me! These people will kill me! Mom, open the gate! I'm in so much pain!" Grandpa ran and opened the gate and saw his sister. She was in terrible shape, covered in bruises. He brought her inside and asked what happened. She told them after taking her back, her in-laws took her to see some Baba or mystic. That Baba told them the child she was carrying was a daughter. After that, her in-laws started torturing her, saying she had to get rid of the baby, or they would kill her. That's why she ran away in the middle of the night. But soon after, her husband, his brothers, and some relatives showed up at their house. Right in front of her family, her husband started beating her and saying, "You wretch! Not only can't you give me a son, you ran away to your parents' house at night. Today, I'll see who saves you." He grabbed her hair and dragged her outside the house. Grandpa stepped forward to stop him, but his mother held him back and said, "Michael, you don't know how powerful and rich they are. Eleanor's well-being is in getting rid of that baby. Don't get involved in this." Eleanor's father also came and said, "Eleanor, my child, don't be stubborn. Do what your in-laws are telling you. It's for your and our good. Get rid of this baby." Hearing their words, her heart was broken. Her father closed the door, and her husband dragged her away. 2 days later, news came that Eleanor had ended her life, but Michael knew well that wasn't true. When he saw her body, It was clear she had been severely beaten, and she died because of that. Even knowing this, he couldn't do anything. His parents didn't say a word, because they knew how powerful those people were, and they didn't have the courage to fight them. They performed her last rites there, at her in-laws' place, and came back home. But after that day, Eleanor came back. She brought terror to both her in-laws' house and her parents' house. At her in-laws, after that, if any woman got pregnant and had a son, she would kill both the mother and the son. And at her parents' house, if any woman got pregnant and had a daughter, she would steal that baby girl. What happened to those babies, nobody knew, and that's exactly what happened to my grandpa Michael. When his first daughter was born, on the 12th day, Eleanor came and took her, just like she took my sister. At that time, they didn't know it was Eleanor. They thought maybe a jackal had taken the baby, because sometimes that happened in the village back then. But it became clear when Michael's wife got pregnant again. This time, too, she had a daughter. And when that daughter was also 12 days old, my grandma and the baby were alone in the house. Michael's mother was sitting outside. Suddenly, she heard her daughter-in-law screaming from inside. She ran in, and what she saw, her eyes almost popped out. Her daughter-in-law was on fire, burning, and her 12-day-old daughter was gone from there too. Grandma's wife died right there, burned to death. The house was filled with crying and mourning. Everyone from the neighborhood came and gathered. While the crying was going on, suddenly they heard someone laughing from behind. Everyone turned around and saw a woman standing far away laughing. Her face wasn't clear, but her figure, it was obvious who it was. It was Eleanor. She was taking her revenge. That day, everyone knew for sure that Eleanor had come back, and she was the one taking the babies. She was taking revenge on both her in-laws and her own family, because nobody had come forward to save her or her baby. It was clear to everyone she was getting her revenge, and she would keep doing it like this. The news spread in the village that she had destroyed her entire in-laws' family. The few survivors had sold everything and fled. The villagers got protective charms made for the whole village, and had prayers performed. The priest said that from now on, whoever has a daughter in their house must perform a special ritual. Otherwise, she will come back to take that daughter. After this, Michael got married again. He had a son, my dad Chris, and a daughter, my Aunt Jessica. For both of them, they performed the ritual properly, and both of them were safe and sound. But when my dad Chris had a daughter, my sister, he considered all this stuff nonsense, just superstition. He didn't have any ritual done. That's why, on the 12th day, she came back and took my sister. He had to pay the price for not believing by losing his own daughter. After that, they did perform a big ritual sacrifice, but they didn't have any more children. I saw all this with my own eyes. I saw how my sister was taken away. After I got married, I also had 2 daughters, and for both of them, I performed the same ritual that had become a tradition in our family. Honestly, I don't know if it's true or not, if I should believe it, but what I saw with my own eyes, I can't deny that, and I don't want to take any chances with my daughters. Both my daughters are safe now, thank God, probably because of that ritual and sacrifice we did when they were born. And it's not just me, in my family, in my Aunt Jessica's family, whoever has a daughter now, they still do that ritual. Everyone has that fear. If Eleanor comes back, she might take their daughters away from them. We even do rituals for Eleanor's soul to rest in peace. We don't know if she's still around, but that fear, it's in our minds, and maybe it will always be there. And this thing, it's probably going to continue generation after generation. It's become our tradition now, and maybe, just maybe, sometime in the future, if someone breaks this rule, Eleanor will come back and take their daughter away. So that was the story of me and my family. An incident that created a terror no one could have imagined. How a life, a baby's life, became so cheap because of money. Her own family didn't step forward to save her. What do you guys think? Was Eleanor right? Was her revenge justified? But if she wanted revenge, why didn't she punish the people responsible? Her in-laws and her own family members. Why did she take away innocent baby girls from that family? Where did those babies go? Were they alive? Or did they die? Let me know what you think in the comments. See you in the next story.